Hi, I'm Sam Sacasa from NABC's Vetfolio and the host of this Vet2Vet Tech Takeover. When talking to pet owners, technicians get a lot of questions, and this is great, especially when we're talking about parasite protection. Today we'll be going through some common questions and pushback we hear from pet owners when talking to them about keeping their pets protected. Joining us is Janet McConnell. She's been a veterinary technician for more than 4 decades and now works to educate technicians and give the tools we need to have effective conversations with pet owners. Thank you for joining us, Janet.
Thank you, Sam. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So let's get into it. The best time to get pet owners on board with parasite protection is that initial visit with their new pet. What do you recommend telling new pet owners about the importance of parasite protection?
I love the very first visit where we can actually develop that relationship with a client. So I'd like to kind of dive into that question just by emphasizing the importance of that, making sure that the client knows that we are there to protect their pet, that we're invested in their pet's health. We want to take a few minutes to get to know them, their new pet, celebrate them, develop a bond. So they also learn to trust us. And so even before we start that conversation, just getting that human touch and developing that relationship, I feel is so important. But getting into it, I feel that the clients really need to know what parasites they are protecting their pet from and why they're protecting their pet from those parasites. If they have the information and the knowledge, then they're more apt to be able to be consistent and compliant with the protection that we're recommending. And so for us, it's important to remember that as technicians, it's our responsibility to make sure that they have that education, but we don't want to overload them with that. We don't want to data dump on them and then have them check out of the conversation. So I really like the KISS theory where you keep it simple and specific. So we want to talk to them about fleas, ticks, heartworm prevention, as well as intestinal parasite protection, meaning roundworms and hookworms. We can have like a 2-minute elevator speech ready to go for that kind of thing, or we can have educational tools ready to go for that as well. But the why behind that, the why is what is really important. So starting with fleas, we can say we use protection for fleas because fleas have an extremely short life cycle. It's very easy for them to get infected without us even seeing it. Fleas transmit a number of different conditions and diseases. They have a reaction to that flea saliva, so they can get very strong itchy rashes and other skin diseases. And then moving on to ticks, ticks are always in the environment. And a lot of people don't understand that their life cycle is so long, 2 to 3 years. So they're out looking for a blood meal, and we have different life stages throughout the year that are feeding. The ticks do transmit very serious diseases. So a lot of our owners are familiar with Lyme disease, but they may not be familiar with Ehrlichia, Rickettsia, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, all the ones that we see these patients coming into the clinic. And then moving on to intestinal parasites, we know these dog owners love to bring them to socialize and be around other dogs. But what they have to remember also is that infected pets can shed those eggs into the environment. Roundworm eggs can persist in the environment for a very long time. Roundworm can cause a lot of nutrient loss as well as many other problems. And then the hookworm is probably, I think, one of the grossest ones that always gets a reaction, right? Because it looks like a little fish hook. He's out crawling around, ready to migrate into the skin, into the paws, and migrate through the body, and then latch on and cause anemia and sucking blood, we tell them. So you get a lot of folks and, ugh, this is disgusting, but that's a great way for them to understand. That's why it's so important. And then touching on heartworm prevention, a lot of our clients really don't understand the mosquitoes are the ones that actually cause that heartworm disease. The protection that we have for pets make sure that whatever infective larvae that those mosquitoes deposit into that pet gets eliminated so they don't go on to become an adult and cause heartworm disease. It can be very challenging as a technician to kind of switch gears when you're doing multiple things in the hospital, and then you might have to jump into an exam room and do that parasite speech. So having that ready to go, but also having some props to be able to help you and educational resources to just influence that conversation can really be helpful too.
I love that. Okay, so it's pretty common to hear that clients have doubts or misconceptions about whether it's important to give heartworm prevention or other parasite protection year round. How can we stress the importance of this to pet owners?
That's a great question that comes up pretty often because I think traditionally a lot of our clients, especially some of our older clients, feel that it's only really necessary during the summer months, but we've really moved away from that. And so educating them about what the top three leading veterinary organizations recommend, the AVMA, AHA, and CAPC, Companion Animal Parasite Council, all recommend that we do 12-month protection all year round. And this is primarily for several factors. We know that we have a lot of climate change going on, and everyone is aware of that, right? We have these warmer winters now, and we've got areas that have been warm that never have been before. And what happens then is that parasites are really excited about that, right? They're like, warm weather, that's great. I can survive all year round. So those parasites tend to be a little bit more active now, longer in those seasons than they ever have before. But with that becomes the potential of them transmitting conditions and diseases and different germs, we can say to clients as well. We also know that we have transport of animals. We have a lot of animals now from rescues and from shelters that are being transported from different areas of the country, but they may be bringing with them some infections. They may have heartworm disease. They may have fleas or ticks. They may have other parasites that are not seen that are coming into areas and bringing those infections with them. We also know we have deforestation. And so we do have wildlife coming into areas that we've really never seen before. And with wildlife comes infestations. They get fleas, ticks. We have coyotes that could be wildlife reservoirs. And we also want to remember that with that warmer weather too, these parasite eggs are just loving that. So our roundworm eggs in the environment can live almost up to a year. The larvae from hookworm can survive in the environment much longer than it has before because of these warmer temperatures. And so there are these various factors that really has contributed to that year-round protection. And we want to make sure that our clients are compliant with that and giving it on a regular basis so we don't risk any of those other factors causing an infection in our pets.
Yeah, I think that's great information to have and great information to relay to clients of why things have changed and why it's now necessary and being able to relay that. So it doesn't just sound like, well, we're making this recommendation, but we don't necessarily have a reason, but that there is actually, very specific reasons why pets need to be on protection now year round.
I always use my story that, I've been in this profession over 40 years now, and things were much different, when I came out. But medicine is always changing, parasites are always changing, the world is changing. We have to keep up with the recommendations to ensure the health of our pets.
Absolutely. There are a lot of different products available for parasite protection. When a client asks you which product they should use, how do you approach that?
There are so many options available to clients, and I feel that clients also look to us for a recommendation. But
Mhm.
the main thing that we want to make sure is that the clients have a product that they are comfortable giving and that also their animal is comfortable receiving. So let's go through what we have and what's available. And we know most clinics now stock an oral preventative. And I love those because they're just so easy to give. I use NexGard Plus on my dog. It's a beef flavored soft chew, which is simple to give, and he enjoys getting it. So it makes protection so easy every month. And I know that he is protected against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, and also our roundworms and hookworms. If their pet is not interested in an oral, there's other options available with topicals. And so our role as technicians is to make sure that they understand what they're giving, when to give it, that the dose is appropriate, that the animal takes it, for us to check in with those clients too. How's your prevention going? Do you have any problems? Or you make sure that he's consuming the whole dose? Or is that topical being, put on and does it stay on? Do you have any questions about anything? Just a regular check-in on that is important.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned just how important it is to listen to the owner's concerns, to check for understanding, because I think that really does encourage compliance long term.
Yes, exactly. And that's our goal, right? We just want to know that they're protected and we don't have to worry about them.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, we often get pushback from clients when it comes to getting their pets on parasite protection. What are some common pushbacks that you see, and how can we address the owner's concerns in a way that will encourage compliance?
Yes, we have a variety of different questions that usually come to mind. I think one of the most popular questions that I see is that I really don't see fleas or ticks on my pet, so I really don't think I need to invest the money in that. You ever hear that, Sam? I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's that's a regular one. And it can be a bit frustrating for us, but we want to make sure that we give the information. To answer that question specifically, we want to talk about just how small these parasites are and how easy they are to be missed. Fleas and ticks can be missed so easily. Flea is the adult stage of the flea is the only stage that we will see in that life cycle. All the other biomass, all the other immature stages are in the environment already. So by the time they see that flea infestation is already in progress. And many stages of ticks are very, very small, very, very difficult to see, like the size of a pepper flake. So 3 different stages until they're engorged, they're very difficult to see. And so really the best way to ensure that they don't get an infestation or an infection is to make sure that they're on protection. Don't have to worry about it then. Intestinal parasites is another invisible threat because they're not going to see those intestinal parasites until there's a real problem. And so for them to understand, though, that the eggs are always present in the environment is probably the best piece of information that we can give them. Our roundworm eggs can persist in the environment for up to a year. Those hookworm larvae can survive in the environment for weeks, even up to months. And so, we talk about these areas that may have more intestinal parasite eggs present in them, their lifestyle, if they go to the dog park, etc. Basically, wherever they take their dog, there potentially could be intestinal parasites that can either be ingested or with hookworms can also be absorbed.
Well, Janet, I know that you are very passionate about education. I am too. And I think that most technicians are. So, as technicians, our role in educating clients is so important. What resources can you share with technicians that they can utilize in the clinic to help them be the best educators possible when having conversations about parasite protection?
I have some really great resources to share. So the first one and my absolute favorite is the CAPC website, Companion Animal Parasite Council. They have prevalence maps for all sorts of diseases. They have heartworm stats. They've got intestinal parasite stats for you. They have tick-borne infectious diseases. It's great because I feel that the CAPC website really tells the story. The maps bring it to life. You can also drill it down and really know what specific diseases are trending in your area, what you're endemic for. They're also really helpful for our clients that travel. And so it's a really important factor that we can talk to our clients about to make sure that you are on regular protection, right? Let's make sure before you go there that your pet is protected. So those stats are great. And the other part of that is that if you want to sign up through CAPC to have those stats emailed to you on a regular basis, that's phenomenal information. I also feel that American Heartworm Society has some great information and brochures for our clients. I also really think that those tick jars are invaluable, brings it to life. If you remove those ticks, put them in a jar and show them the clients, especially if you have different sizes. Those are really helpful because they may just think of them as being, one size and a gorge tick when they can be, quite a different size. So wherever you have the ability to collect real specimens is very helpful. Our clients all learn differently. It's kind of like being in the classroom and every student learns differently. So having a variety of different educational materials can be very helpful. So, some people may prefer a social media site. Some people may prefer a brochure they bring home, having posters on the wall, having information that, can be given auditory through auditory ways in your exam room. All different ways of learning is really important. A picture of you and your pet is probably also another one of my favorites. And I like that because it gives you the opportunity to talk about your pet, what protection that you're using to keep them healthy. Again, because they're looking for you for that recommendation. So having that is a good springboard for a conversation as well. So those are some of my favorites.
I love that. I think you presented so many great resources. Of course, the CAPC website is amazing. And I love that you mentioned having little specimens, little ticks or whatever the case may be in a jar. I've never thought of that. And I think that is such a great idea to really kind of gross owners out a little bit and help them
That's right.
realize, yes, that they are very different sizes and that they can definitely, be found on your pet.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And the growth factor is pretty high. It's kind of amusing in some ways. The
Yeah.
kids love them.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, Janet, thank you so much. You gave us so much great information today. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes, I do. My closing thoughts would be to technicians, just remember the difference that you can make in the life of a pet by really being a champion for protection. I really encourage you to get those stats. It really will influence you to have those conversations, to up your game, talk about it during your team meetings, what's trending in your area, put those stats on your whiteboards, make sure that everyone is very knowledgeable about your protection products that you stock and why and how to use them. And make sure too that we keep that connection with our clients, check up on them. We did take that oath. We want to make sure that we alleviate pain and suffering in pets. So champion preventative care, champion protection for pets year round, and let's keep these pets healthy. So good luck, everyone. Keep fighting the good fight. And thanks for coming.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you to Beringer Ingelheim for partnering with us for this Tech Takeover edition of Vet2Vet. Check out NAVCsvetfolio.com for more of our V2V discussions on various topics in veterinary medicine. And remember, great patient care starts with self-care.
NexGard Plus, alfoxylaner, moxidectin, and pyrantel chewable tablets prevents canine heartworm disease, protects your canine patients from fleas and ticks, and treats and controls roundworms and hookworms in a delicious beef-flavored soft chew. Important safety information. NexGard Plus is for use in dogs only. The most frequently reported adverse reactions reported in clinical trials were diarrhea, vomiting, lethargy, and itching. NexGard Plus contains alfoxylaner, a member of the isoxazoline class, which has been associated with neurologic adverse reactions including tremors, ataxia, and seizures in dogs with or without a history of seizures. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a heartworm disease preventative.